What's up, guys? It's me, the cool Geek Alive, coming to you fucking live. I'm live. This feels good. How do you like my setup? I don't know if you were paying attention. I hurt my back a little bit, like a few weeks ago, and when I was finding out what had gone wrong with my back, and how do I strengthen the muscle, my psoas muscle in my back, and my chiropractor said, actually, there's really nothing that you can do to strengthen it, but sitting is the problem. And I was like, oh, fuck. I'm like, all I do is sit and do my damn podcast, like during the week, and writing, and like I'm fucking sitting all the time. So I set a wall for myself so I could stand. So I'm going to be kind of like walking around here and doing my thing. And I get super psyched out seeing myself on camera, seeing all this shit. So I'm literally like putting up my notes and just doing the show like I normally do it. So if I'm not looking at you and it doesn't seem engaged, I mean, like, this is how I normally do the show, and I'm trying not to be affected by being on camera, because I have a lot of problems about being on camera. I don't know, man. People judge a book by its cover, and very purposefully, I don't look like everybody else. I don't carry myself like everybody else. I'm not like everybody else. I'm different, and people meet me and they think that they know me, because lots of people are very egocentric and ego-driven, and I'm very high-functioning Asperger's. I swear, I'm innocent. Like, people be like, you're all about yourself. You're you're ego-driven and self-centered, like whatever. And like, I just want to play. I love to like please people. Like, I just to make people happy. That's why I'm a writer. That's why I do entertainment. Like, I love people. So, but like, I've been on camera, on TV, MTV, all this in my whole life. And just, it seems like everybody they see me sometimes, a certain amount of people, and they're just like, I want to punch that guy in his face. And for the past year that I've been doing Coolest Geek Alive, people go, how come you don't do it on YouTube? And I just kind of always say the same thing, because like, I don't want people to like want to punch me in the face. Like, I want people to listen to what I have to say, because I believe that my ideas are far more important than what I look. I don't give two shits about what I look like. I make myself look weird just like to entertain myself. I like the mohawk because it's interesting. I like the blue hair because it's interesting. I mean, and I'll do all sorts of colors and shit. I mean, my walls of my room, like color therapy. Like, I just have a lot of energy, and I like to, engage with people. And, I'm like a happy puppy. My tail's wagging, and when there's people around, and I want to engage with people. But sometimes that can be a little bit too much for some people. And now here I am on YouTube, put myself out here. I've got a lot of people who've been listening. We got like 500,000 downloads a month, and I don't know what it ends up translating to, whether it's like, 200,000 people or 150,000 people or 100,000, whatever it is, who are listening to a lot of our shows every month. And those people, I love you. You guys have been with me now for 100, and this is the 101st episode. So 101 episodes you guys have been listening to the show. And I know you guys know me, and I so appreciate you guys. Your letters, people write me at JESSE and like, oh, your letters make me able to live. Like, seriously, it's just such you show up and you talk by yourself. I'm talking to myself and like talking about geek culture stuff, things that I love. And it's not until I get like a letter from somebody that says, oh man, Jess, you're talking about the puppets, or you're talking about He-Man or whatever it was. And you're just saying everything that I wanted to say. I shared it with my wife. I shared it with my friend, because I was like, this guy got it, gets it. And I think I do get it. I work in this industry as a writer, as a producer and a creative director, and in entertainment, I know what's up. I know what's up because I care about the audience. The audience is the most important thing. And I think anybody who's not audience oriented is an idiot. And clearly, DEI and like everything they've been doing right now, it's not audience oriented. And that's really the problem. The problem is your audience, and you can't force your audience to enjoy what you want them to enjoy. Your audience enjoys what it enjoys. And actually, most people don't even understand what it is that an audience is actually looking for when they're watching a movie or watching a TV show or reading a comic book, whatever it is. At the end of the day, they want a character who has something that they strongly desire and that they're working very hard to achieve it. If you have a character who wants something, who is working very hard to achieve it, your audience is in. That's it. There's a great book that I always recommend to novice writers called Wired for Story that will completely change the way you look at all entertainment, because it's not about all these superficial details. You know, somebody like Quentin Tarantino really sends the wrong messages to novice writers because he's so clever with his dialogue, the way he'll arrange his scenes and the way he does things. And those things are awesome window dressing. They'll make you stand out if you have already accomplished the thing about giving us a character who wants something and then showing us how hard they're working to get it. It's funny, I had a very good friend who had written a script, and she's a lady. Shout out to Adana. And it was her first script that she'd ever written. It was really great, and it was such a cool, like, girl power kind of flick about this girl band who was just like, you know, wants to make it and doing all these things. And it's really sweet. You know, I could totally see her perspective as like a little girl. It was very rah rah, and it like felt good. It was like just this this girl power fantasy, and it was awesome, except a very major problem. She was just giving everything to these girls. They weren't earning anything. They had something they wanted, but it just kind of like, it's just like kept coming to them. It kept coming to them without much effort. And an audience sees that and goes, these bitches don't deserve their dreams. You know how freaking hard I've been working my whole life? I haven't got my dream yet. Your audience wants to see Mein Kampf. Mein Kampf means my struggle. That's how he fucking was connecting to those people. He was like, this is my struggle. That's why the book connected so easily with the fucking populace. He's like, my struggle. It's written from the perspective of his struggle and overcoming his struggle. That's how fucking smart that fucking maniac was. Your struggle is everything. And I said to Adana, I said, Adana, you got to make these girls work harder for this thing that they're getting. It seems everything's being handed to them. There's a term, I always mispronounce this term, the duax machina. I always pronounce it like red. Duax machina, which means basically the god of the machine comes in and he just fixes everything. He makes everything the way that your characters would like it to be. Audiences hate that unless your characters really struggle. If your characters struggle enough, your audience will demand that you give them what they want. They will demand, they will be like, give these people the happy ending that they deserve, or I'm gonna kill someone. It's so legit. You need the struggle. The struggle is what makes the reward worth it. I said to Adana, I said, if you make these girls work hard enough for what they want, your ending doesn't even have to make sense as long as you give them their happy after. You know, like you can do machina, anything you want. You could just have God come in and goes, and here, I give you the thing that you want, because your audience is there. One of my favorite fucking comic books of all time. It probably is my favorite comic book of all time. It's most moving. I've never cried more in anything. I've never cried more in a fucking movie or anything. I've never felt deeper feelings than reading Grant Morrison's Animal Man. There's like 3 trade paperbacks that makes up, I think, like 18 issues of what he had written. By the end of his Animal Man, essentially, the ending is as Deus Machina as you possibly can imagine. But because of the struggle that this guy is put through, that Buddy Baker is put through, anything, just give this man his happy ending and make me want to cry. It's so easy for me to access the tears because I can go back to that moment and I can feel all the terrible shit that they put him through, that fucking writer put this character through. And you were just like, please, please, please just give Buddy a happy ending. He deserves it. He's worked so hard. He's stood true to his principles. He stood true to who he is. And that's the other important thing. Who are your characters? Who are those people? And I mean, this is what we're going to talk about today. Being cool. What is being cool? It's being authentic, being who you are, standing up for what you believe in, not bending, You know, even when you're an unreasonable person who believes in something ridiculous, you can get people very excited about some unreasonable person who is doing what they believe in. That's why we love Magneto. Magneto is an unreasonable person who is doing something that he very fervently believes. He believes these human beings cannot be trusted. I've seen what they did during the Holocaust. They're fucking crazy. I got to watch out for these people. We need to do something before they do something. I don't trust them. And you can empathize with him. You know, there's so many people who say, I was right, right? He's snapping away half the population, getting rid of our friends and our family willy-nilly, and people are like, Thanos is right. And it's the most ridiculous fucking thing. Anybody who's brainwashed you with the idea that there is not enough room on planet Earth. Look, everybody could live comfortably in Texas. And I think, I forgot what the math breaks down, but literally you break down all the square footage in Texas and everybody can get like a fucking mile or half a mile of land or whatever, just in Texas alone. And maybe that's changed now since the population's gone up a little bit more. But, I mean, plenty more. But still, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. There's no need for us to kill these people to get rid of them. It's fucking insane. So don't think like that. But this is the psychology of morality is different for everybody. Everybody kind of has a different line in the sand of what they think is right or whatever. Granted, morality is not different for everybody. There's only one morality. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Live and let live. Allow those people to live the way that they want to live as long as they're not hurting you, and let them allow you to live as you would like to live without them hurting you. And if they push back on you and how you're living, they don't like your mohawk or they don't like whatever it is, you push back and you say, no, I free, you stay over there and I'll stay over here. Get the fuck out of my existence with your own personal dogma, your own personal morality. That's fine. As long as it's not hurting me, you do whatever you want. But me, I'm going to do my thing. All right. And that is part of being cool. Magneto's cool because he believes in what he believes in. The Joker and Dr. Doom, they are all authentic. They're living their authentic lives. This past 2 weeks ago, I did an episode of my show that I do every Monday night, All Your Favorite Bands Suck, and I did Little Richard. Oh, I love Little Richard so much. And I love him because he is perhaps the most authentic person who has ever lived on planet Earth. You know, all those troubles that Elvis Presley had when he was on stage, shaking his hips and doing his whole fucking, you know, thing that everybody's at home, oh my God, like this is sex. Little Richard is the inventor of that. They stole all that shit from Little Richard. Little Richard was a gay black man from the South who was overtly feminine, legitimately handsome and sexy, and that energy comes off him. You see him play, woo! You know, he knows how to look at you with eyes and like really, he's a sexy guy. That was a problem back then. You know, as the blacks were being repressed in so many different ways. Somebody like Chuck Berry or Fats Domino, they weren't as challenging to the white man as Little Richard was. He was like a clear and present danger to people who were sort of intimidated by energy that is found in the black community, the soul that is found in the black community. You know, that not that it's only found in the black community. You know, I have that kind of energy, but I'm weird. I'm weird amongst white people. You know, when I hang out with white people, they're like quiet and I'm like, ah! You know, I played on my sports teams. I'd always be hanging out with all the black kids because me and them, we vibed. We had so much energy. We're hanging out with the redheads. You know, there are certain people in society who, in general, do have access to a little bit more energy. And it can be intimidating to people. And Little Richard, I was crying on the show because at the end of his life, he was being interviewed and somebody asked him some sort of question about like, what, at this stage of your life, like, what are you looking for? You know, like, or what is there still to do or whatever? And he said, love, that he was looking for love. And it was very clear to me that the love that he was talking about was self-love. He didn't love himself. The most authentic person on planet Earth put himself out there, and he got a very steady message that he was wrong. He was fundamentally wrong in some way. Rock and roll was wrong in the way he would, you know, just let his energy out, and him being gay was wrong, and he had to put that away. He didn't be himself. And I've let the world make me kill myself. I never would do it, but I've done that. I have felt that for a lot of my life, that like people don't necessarily like me all the time. You know, there's a certain amount of people who don't appreciate me, even though I want to entertain them and make them happy. Like, my intentions towards people are so good, and it has blown my mind throughout my life when people act badly to me, because like I'm like, oh my God, I love you. Why don't you like me? I don't understand. You know, I got nothing but I got presents for you, and you want to get rid of me? Like, all I want to do is give to you. All I want to do is help. I don't get it. But people who are different, we challenge the people who are followers, the people who are sheep, the people who are just going with the flow that everybody is on. But people like us, geeks and other people, we're the counterculture. We go, nah, I don't think that's for me. I'm going to follow the road less traveled. And the road less traveled could be a really lonely road. And I feel that's so strong. It can be really tough to go down the road because we're not rewarded for it, because we make the street men, the normal people, we make them question whether or not they've made the right choices. We follow our hearts and we do what we like. We read the books we want to read. We play the role-playing games, and we don't stop pretending. We don't worry so much about how pretty we look or whatever else. We throw up a mohawk, or, you know, do something ridiculous, put some freaking metal in our face or whatever, to scare a certain amount of people away. I mean, like, the reason why I have tattoos is because I realized a long time ago that people with tattoos were being judged. They were being judged unfairly. And as soon as I realized that, I went, one day, I'm going to get tattoos because I'm awesome, I'm nice, I'm kind, I'm cool. And you know what? People are going to see me at the supermarket and they're going to judge me. Some old lady's going to be like, oh, look at the guy with the tattoos. And then there's going to be something high up on the shelf and she needs to reach it and she can't get it. And I'm going to go over there, I'm going to reach it for her, I'm going to give her a big smile and say, oh, here's the thing for you. And then that lady's going to go, huh, maybe people with tattoos aren't so bad. You know? We have the power to change the whole narrative by not playing into this thing. But we can't be like Little Richard. We can't let them win. I mean, we got to be like Little Richard, but we can't let the world make us feel badly for being who we are. We gotta shine, you know? You gotta be the person that you're gonna be. You know, and doing this live stream, it's hard for me. It's really like, I'm not looking at myself. I don't have the camera up. I've got my notes, which is usually what I do when I do the show. I've got the notes up. I want to see myself. I don't want the show to be any different for me, because I've loved doing this show because it's just me on a microphone and it's just my voice, which to me is just ideas. And I think in my voice, you can hear my love that I have for all of these comic books and all of these movies and all of these shows and all of these people who make this stuff, and the love that I have for you guys for listening to my show. Like, I don't have a show unless people like you are listening going, oh man, I love Jesse. I love what he has to say. It's so nice to hear somebody say out loud the things that I think in my mind. Because I know I'm not the only one. And you need to know, you're not the only one. You're not the only one who thinks, man, there should be more, there should be better, and there should be something else. Okay? You know, the leaders of the geek culture community have really demonstrated themselves to be wannabe popular people. Wannabe popular people are just the fucking worst. They're the worst because they think that they're not good enough. And they're trying to please people who are completely insecure in the first place and aren't being authentic in the first place. So no amount of you showing up trying to please them is going to do whatever. And the fact that you think that you're on the low, I'm the low man on the totem pole because I'm a geek culture man. I make comic books and you make movies. You know why I make comic books? Because I chose to make comic books. If I wanted to make fucking movies, I'd make movies. I don't give two shits about movies. In fact, Movies piss me off because movies have actors in them. And the actors, you know, it's like the actors that people really like. We like them because on some level we see something in them that we believe in, that we believe there's something, this man has a quality about them. This lady has a quality about her, you know, that resonates. But not every actor is like that. It's few and far between. There's only so many movie stars for that very reason. And people that they'll think will be movie stars don't connect with the audience. But somebody like Johnny Depp or Robin Williams, we can feel their fucking hearts beating in their chest. We're like, oh man, I love this guy. I love this guy. I love him in anything he does. You know, I'm a big Mel Gibson fan and Paul Newman. Oh, those guys I can feel. You know, I know Mel's gotten in trouble for freaking mouthing off. I mean, really, he was just speaking, using terms that made it seem like he's a freaking racist guy, but he was just pointing to the fact that overwhelmingly there's a certain, felt like to him that there was a certain group of people that was pushing back on him. And I really don't believe, you know, I don't agree with Mel in pointing to any groups like that, because it's not about the group. And when you point to the larger group, you really miss the point. It's very specifically this group. This individual group of people is a problem, you know, and it's a small group. It's always a small group. You know, all these women on the internet talking about, would you rather be in the forest with a bear or with a man? And they're like facetiously going, a bear. They're not pointing to men. They're pointing to the men that they have personally dated. And I can tell you, these women don't have good taste in men. There are plenty of wonderful, wonderful men in the world. And most of the men, they don't have girlfriends and they're freaking leading lonely lives. And you know, and it's because women are going after the wrong things. You know, they're getting these people who seem like they don't care, who are pretending like they don't care, because that's power. But those people care. They're pretending not to care. The amount of people who actually really don't care in this world, very, very small. You know, I like to think that maybe I've become one of those people. I probably seemed like I was one of those people for a very, very long time to most people. Like, oh, he doesn't care about anything. No, there's certain things that I didn't care about. But at the end of the day, I'm a people pleaser. I was a people pleaser. You know, I did care. I preferred people to enjoy their time with me. You know, Jim Henson is my idol. Because of, I mean, not this isn't really because, but I mean, he had a quote that just really inspired me and inspired the way I live my life. And, you know, he said, my hope is that the world is a little bit better for me having been here. And that's what I want. I want the world to be better because I was here. And this whole fucking Coolest Geek Alive thing, I've got an admission to make. I am not the coolest geek alive. I'm sorry. I'm not actually the coolest geek alive. I know that's what I say, but I'm not the coolest geek alive. The coolest geek alive is an idea. It's an idea about what it is to be an exceptional person, to be somebody that people might think is the coolest person. I love that person. That person's so fucking cool. You know, I hope that my actions over time lead people to feel that way. And I mean, you know, this isn't the fucking Highlander, as I said in one of my Twitter posts. You know, it's not, there can be only one. You know, coolest, best, words like that. You know, when people use them, people's egos get perked up. But we have to use coolest, best, greatest, godly. Those are the words that contain the power. And you can use the word, and I can use, we can all use the words to claim the power that is underlying the est and the earth, you know, the greatest and the greaters. That's what we need to do. You know, I talk about sometimes on a spiritual level, being forced to sort of think of yourself as God. And I say sort of because clearly you're not God. You're not. God is everything. But you're a piece of God. And God, and not a guy in a robe, math, the math of the universe, the intellectual aspect of the universe, it's infinite. And words are spells and they capture ideas. The only place that I know of where the infinite power of God is stored is in the word God. So you have to be able to claim that word God to claim all of the power that is possible to claim on planet Earth, to walk around proudly, not egoically and arrogantly, but in a, I'm supposed to be here, just like the bumblebees are supposed to be here and all the animals and the majestic trees and all this shit. Like, it is all of God. And I am part of this infinite source, you know? And because in that thing is the infinity. And outside of it, if God is outside of you and you're not any part of that, well, you're not any part of the infinity. But you are. You are part of the infinity. You have to claim the fullness of the thing. So when I say coolest Geek Alive, that's me just going, this is what I'd like. I'd like the power inherent in this. And a lot of people have a misunderstanding of what cool is. And I mean, really, that's what I want to talk about, you know, today in terms of cool and being cool. You know, my tattoo on my shoulder, if you see it, it says coolest man alive. All right. I changed the epitaph to coolest Geek Alive for this show, but coolest man alive. And coolest man alive is a pledge for me. You know, it's like if I go on the internet and I tell everybody I'm going to start working out and I'm going to put on 20 pounds, I'm going to look like He-Man next year. And I've said a couple of these things. I said it because I want to do it. I want to force myself to do it. I want to be embarrassed if I don't. I'm setting up stakes. I want to be embarrassed if I'm not the coolest geek alive, if I'm not the coolest man alive. I want to feel ashamed because that's what I want to be. I want to be it every day. And I'm okay with people going, well, I don't know if he's the coolest geek alive, but I suppose he's a nice guy. He's a good guy. You know, that's it. That's fine. Like, people can be like, I don't know. I hope earn it over time. You know, and have people go, man, it's one of is fine. But still, you have to claim the singularity. You've got to be, you're the universe. You're making your universe. You're making a mental universe. Anybody, like God and all this fucking, like, it's science. Quantum physics shows we're just in a mathematical universe. You personally are projecting a fucking universe all around you. And then every individual is also projecting their own universe all around them. And when we interact with each other, our universes interact with one another. But we create the universe and we attract and repel all the things that we want to attract and repel in this mental universe. And there's plenty of freaking things that you can study to, you know, get yourself to this way of thinking. I'm starting a show. I was going to start this Friday, but I think I'm going to start next Friday because I've got some major meetings that I'm taking on Friday and they were important. But the show is going to be called Everything They Don't Want You to Know. And the first 12 episodes, I'm just going to be teaching you about the Hermetic principles and the universal laws that can be found in Kabbalah and all sorts of cultures all over the planet. And when you study the universal laws, they're just essentially the shapes and the flow of the energy of the universe, how things are over and over again replicating themselves, the sacred geometric patterns and shapes of the universe. And this stuff, you can learn it. You know, you can learn it. You don't have to be ignorant, like, oh, I don't know. It's not, oh, I don't know. There's plenty to learn. There's plenty of people who already know it and already know it. And if you care enough to find out, you will. And I cared enough to find out. And I've spent I've spent all my life studying, but around 28 was when because I was an atheist until I was 28. And then I had a profound experience that proved to me that there was a lot more going on. There was dimensions to reality that I couldn't see. And then when I started really, really digging deeply into this, I realized, oh shit, we're living in a mental universe. It's a collective consciousness. And other people's beliefs are infringing on everybody else's beliefs. And it's funny because even as an atheist, I knew this. You know, my family crest says, this is my family crest. We got my mom, we got my dad, and these are my siblings and the sister. And it's on the red, it says positive mental attitude. So even as an atheist, I recognized that, like, you had to believe something was possible for it to be possible. And the reason why that's true is because we're living in a mind. We're essentially living in the mind of God, or the giant cosmic fish tank, as I used to call it. Now I'm more comfortable with the word God because I do believe that we store energy, we store information in that word. And in order to claim the power associated with God, and it's not that you're supposed to arrogantly claim it all, I am God, you know, but I am an aspect of God and I am a creator on this world, creating my world. The attitudes and the positive thoughts or the negative thoughts that I have, they're going to be my universe. So I try to project these things forward. So do I think I'm the coolest geek alive? No. Do I love it when somebody says, oh, Jess, you're so cool? Yes, because I feel like, yeah, I'm doing the thing that I want to do. Now, my dad's a rock star. My mom's a fucking rock star, even though she's not a rock star, but she is an artisan. She is so fucking talented, mother. They are authentic people and they are cool. And in general, they are egoless in a lot of ways that make them cool, ways that make them accepting of people who are different, ways that make them not judgmental, ways that make them not judge a book by its cover. I learned how to be cool from them, what it was to be cool, to use your power as a celebrity to lift up people who consider themselves to be below you. Because nobody's below you, everybody's equal. But we'll do this thing of like, oh, well, you're rich or you come from a famous family. Like all these people give me all of this power that I don't deserve. I'm Dee Snider's son. I've been raised in the entertainment business. I've been raised in this, like, so to some people, depending on the way they're looking at the world, they're like, oh, well, Jesse comes from a different place than me. He's different. And I hate that. I hate being treated like I'm any different than anybody. I'm equal to everybody. I'm the same as everybody. I believe anybody can do anything that I can do, you know, if they work hard at it. You know, it just so happens I work hard at a lot of stuff, and I've put in the time to become very, very good at the things that I do. But I don't think that what I've done is impossible for anybody else to do. You can fucking do it too. Fuck yeah, get in there. You know, I'm 41. I've been working on this shit for a long time. You know, I've gotten good. I've been able to get my mind right and actually have perspective on myself and the work that I do. And I can recognize at this point in time, like, I'm good at what I do, man. You know, nobody can take that away from me. And it's okay. It's okay to confidently understand where you're at in the world, where you could use to improve. I'm also the type of person where occasionally I'm very humbled because I am egoless enough to be confronted with somebody better than me, somebody cooler than me, somebody more awesome, even on like small levels, and go, oh, I need a little bit of more of whatever they have. Like, you know, like, what did they order? You know, I'll have what they're having. Can I get a little bit of that in my life? I talked about this before. I remember this amazing concert that I went to in Nashville that was put on by John Rich at his house. It was like the finale for a show called Gone Country, which was a reality show that my father had done with all of these different celebrities. And in the audience, hanging with my dad and my mom and Meatloaf and Mark McGrath from Sugar Ray. I love Sugar Ray. Sugar Ray was famous on that song Fly. They have an album before Fly that is badass and awesome. Look up Sugar Ray, Mean Machine, or Sugar Ray, Iron Mike. There's a bunch of great songs on that album. Anyway, I was very glad to be hanging out with Mark McGrath because I'm a huge Sugar Ray fan. And we were dumbfounded, all of us. I mean, I don't know if they had the experience that I had, but every person who got on this stage, this little private concert and all these people that John Rich had brought in, they were better than me at music. They were better than me on a lot of levels. There was this one guy who was writing songs and all these lyrics and he's telling stories. And the lyrics and the story and the way he connected to my heart, the way I felt he was saying, the way I felt his story. I mean, like, I'm probably not going to be able to get through talking about this right now because I was so moved that night on so many levels. He blew me away. And I just went, this guy is so much better than me. And it was on a particular level. It wasn't like necessarily he could sing better than me or he could perform better than me. But in this particular way, it knocked my socks off. I was like ashamed of myself. There was a girl went on and she sang and she was doing all these runs, you know, where like you take the melody and you go, oh, oh, oh. And usually I hate that. When I go to plays and like this will be some play where there's songs that I really like, I always get so annoyed that there is a great song, and like this singer thinks that their fucking stupid voice is gonna improve on the song by like like I hate it. But this girl, she got up on the stage. She made me like runs. She made me want to learn how to do runs. And now I know how to do runs. I'm pretty good at it now. I mean, I'm not as great as she was. She was really incredible. And I keep working on that one. When it comes to the writing that I learned, that other who I was so humbled with, I'm as good as him. I'm as good as him. Fuck yeah. He was great. I'm great at it too. I decided to incorporate my writing as a comic book writer into my writing as a songwriter. I realized after I left that day, because by the end of this night, and because there were so many, this guy Sinister, he came out, he did this medley to Very Superstitious, where he did all these different awesome rap songs, Ba with the Ba, and Walk This Way, and Your Right to Party, all to Very Superstitious. Fucking awesome. It was him and Cowboy Troy. And they played for like 8 minutes. And for 8 minutes, you're in the audience just going, yes! Yeah, they're fucking amazing! What? Like, and I'm just, how fucking easy is this? They played one beat and broke out all of these other songs and just, you know, in the middle of an original set or whatever, and just brought the house down with a ton of covers. And I just went, I never do anything like this. I'm not so creative when I do cover songs. Like, how creative? What a great thing to do. I got to do things like that. And now I do. You know, me and my band, we have a crazy mashup of 2 live crews, We Want Some Pussy, and TNT by AC/DC. We're actually about to release it as a video and a song. It came out fucking awesome. And I was open to doing that because of Sinister, because I saw Sinister. He's a great producer. Shout out to Sinister. He's a good dude. And I got to work with him a little bit years later. And I was so inspired. I tell you, there was a moment where I was like, either you quit music or you improve. And that's character. That's cool. That's being able to admit when you're wrong, being able to ask a question. We don't know the answer. Don't pretend like you know the person that they're talking about. Don't pretend that you've seen that movie. Say, no, what's that? Who's in that? Now you know. Now you're smarter. Now you're fucking cool. Lame people pretend. They're inauthentic. They pretend to be smarter than they are. They pretend to be cooler than they are. They pretend to know more people than they know. Don't do that. You're not going to learn anything. You're not going to grow. And you're going to make the people around you think you're fucking lame as shit when they realize that you don't actually know that thing. And half the time when you say, oh, yeah, people can tell. People can tell you don't fucking know what you're talking about. So don't fucking pretend. You want to be cool? Be authentic. Be like Little Richard. Just don't let them make you feel bad for who you are. I'm to myself an English major. In college, I went to CW. I got hired out of college by MTV Networks, and I was a host and to voiceovers and all this stuff. Even though comic books and music has always been my passion, and I've been, you know, how old was I when I got hired by Marvel? I don't know. I was pretty young, my early 20s. Took years before the book came out. And music, you know, I've been making music for forever. But money-wise, I've made a lot of my money as a voiceover actor and a host of things. And I mean, hence, you know, me sitting here doing a podcast and my voice and now I'm on camera. I've been doing this for a very long time. And that's why I know that when people see my face, sometimes like I get fucking just like people throw tomatoes at me. I'm like, I don't understand this. It's just very funny because some people react to me like they get me. You know, I see we're probably going to get into like comments and stuff. Like when I do this live stream, I'll probably do this as a podcast, you know, and then at the end of the podcast, once I close my show, I'll stick around, I'll answer questions and I'll talk to people and I'll say hello and stuff. But my buddy, Brian Burns is out in the audience. Brian's, you know, I hate calling somebody a fuck fan. You know, Brian gets me. I love Brian. I really appreciate his appreciation for me, what I try to do. You know, some people get you. And when you see the people that get you, it makes you so confused for the people who don't get you. I'm like, how is it that Brian understands? I just want to fucking do right in the world. And like all these other people are like freaked out. Well, you being authentic freaks out people. All right. You probably experienced this on one level or another. People pushing back on you playing with toys or playing D&D or reading comic books or whatever. And it's not because your authentic thing is wrong. It's because it makes them feel wrong for not being authentic themselves. So if you feel like triggering people and you're making people like, you know, have sort of like a reaction where like they're pushing back against who you are and trying to change you, don't budge and realize it's not you, it's them. People can only respond to you from where they're at, the place that they're coming from, what they think about comic books. Most people won't read comic books because they think they're childish. Those people are idiots. We've got some of the most beautiful and amazing artwork being created month in and month out with people who are essentially chained to their freaking art studio because they have to make money for the family. They don't get paid good enough to make comic books. You know what level of art has come out of a system like that? Insanity. You know, the worlds that are created by a Frank Frazetta, and I can spot a Frank Frazetta piece of art from a mile away. I can spot a piece of Alex Ross art from a mile away. I can spot a piece of fucking Jack Kirby or Jim Starlin or freaking Steranko or just Ditko. There's so many freaking artists who I can point to where I just go, oh, yes, there it is, Art Adams. Fuck yeah. Jeff Darrow. Oh, amazing. Jason Pearson. Whoa. Dave Johnson. Fucking A. These people are creating worlds. And their art, their pen stroke is so consistent that I can see a world that looks like they made it. How that's not childish. People are looking down at comic books like they're fucking childish. This is insane. Speaking of which, I wanted to talk about, I'm going to take just a real quick break to talk about this because nobody is. I haven't had a chance to read them yet. I'm sure they're fucking amazing. This just came out, and we should support Jeff Johns, who's one of the greatest comic book creators alive. Ghost Machine. They've got a whole line. This contains multiples of like little short stories to kind of set up so much of the universe. But it's Jeff Johns with Jason Fabok, Brian Hitch, and Gary, is Gary Frank? Yeah, Gary Frank. They are fucking awesome. These three books that they did. Geiger #1 is out right now. Red Coat is the one with Brian Hitch. The last one, Geiger's with Gary Frank. They actually already did 6 issues of Geiger, which were great. I read those. I love Jeff Johns. I'll read anything that he writes generally. Generally speaking, the only shitty thing I've ever read from him was the New 52 Justice League that they came out. And clearly, it's just the fucking editorial and dictates and stupid things that he had to do with that book. Because literally, everything he's ever written is great, except for that fucking stupid book. New 52 was such a missed opportunity. They ruined so many things. And then Jason Fabok, who's one of my favorite recent artists of recent times. If you haven't read Three Jokers by Jeff Johns, Three Jokers was fucking awesome. Go find Three Jokers. That's your homework assignment. Go to the comic book shop, buy Ghost Machine. Support a new company doing new things. And they have brought in multiple people that are amazing to the company. I'm going to put this down real quick. Actually, I can open it up. He's got Brad Meltzer, who is a brilliant, brilliant comic book writer. Brad has written some awesome stuff. Identity Crisis is the one that he's most known for. Identity Crisis is amazing. And also Peter J. Tomasi. Peter J. Tomasi is fucking great. He's become known like the Super Son stuff that was a little short-lived, but great. And he has written a Black Adam miniseries that I'm very, very fond of. I think the art was by Doug Mann, who's another one of my fucking favorite artists. I mean, listen to how many people I can name. These people, as far as I'm concerned, they're fucking Da Vinci. Assholes in the mainstream think that like it's kid shit. Fuck you, you fucking disrespectful pieces of shit. Let me see you fucking draw what these motherfuckers have drawn. Give proper respect to artists. I'm going to go to the Louvre and I'm going to look at all the things that Da Vinci did. There are people who are alive right now creating things that you've never seen before. The shit that was made in the Renaissance is just pictures of human beings. Pictures like you and me, pictures of wars and pictures of horses and shit. Freaking Eric Treadaway, the sculptor for Four Horsemen Studio. There's molds in there, but Eric is the man. Eric is the freaking reincarnation of Da Vinci as far as I'm concerned. And he's not making human beings. He's making aliens and anthropomorphic animal people and things that you have never seen before. Someone is pulling out of their mind and creating things that didn't exist yesterday. Da Vinci didn't do that. Da Vinci was going, there's a thing I observe, I have created it. There's another thing I can observe, created it. It is a next level thing. Create something in your mind and bring it into reality. Everyone who learns how to do that should be respected to such a crazy degree. Ghost Machine is so awesome. The people that he brought together here are amazing. I'll mention a couple of the other artists. Francis Manopol is on the list of people. I like Francis as a person a lot. He's a really good guy. Like Francis, he's a sweet dude. And Ivan Rice, he's fucking awesome too. Some of the other guys I don't know as well, so I'm not going to speak on them because I'm an authentic person, so I don't want to fucking bullshit and say that I know. I don't really know them as much. But the people that I've mentioned here, those are creators who I trust, people who I would seek out their work. I seek out their work on the shelf, whether they're working for Marvel, whether they're working for DC, whether they're doing something independent. I've read enough of what they do to know that they do it very well, and I will follow them everywhere they go. Ghost Machine, not enough people are talking about it. A lot of these comic book shops have bought a lot of copies so that because they're trying. Marvel is really sucking right now, and DC is really sucking right now, and new companies, you know, there's only so many trying to do something new. And Jeff Johns and this Ghost Machine company, they're doing it the right way. They're trying. They've got really great artists doing great books. They look gorgeous, these comic books. Please go support Ghost Machine. Go out to a comic book store and get this stuff. Really, I just see somebody like, you know, people talking about how nobody's really talking about it. Like, it's not really, you know, people aren't showing up to the shops and buying these books. Please go to the shops, buy those books. All right. So getting back to me as a English major, going to CW Post, and my freshman year, I was the A&E editor for the college newspaper. And within 2 weeks of being the A&E editor, I asked them if I could turn the section, which was just like a 2-page section, I asked them if I could do a pullout. A pullout would have to be at least 8 pages, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I only had like 3 staff writers. So I would have to write most of the book myself, write most of the section myself, and I would have to do a lot of work. But I wanted to do this amazing college A&E section that was designed to be like just like a entertainment support for college kids, you know, support for people like me. And I'm so proud of the work that I did in college. I mean, just because week in, week out, every week, I produced an 8-page pullout with my team, and you work very, very closely with those people, and you become very good friends. You know, whether it's the art team and or my editor-in-chief. My editor-in-chief, Aaron Cahall, he was a comic book fan. I credit him to turning me on to The Authority and a few other books along the way. I turned him on to Savage Dragon and a few different things that I was reading, and there was this classic story of me and Aaron sitting at lunch, and I'm sitting there, and he's reading a comic across the table from me, and I'm reading a comic, and I guess out of the corner of his eye, he sees these women, like some hot chicks, coming to the table to talk to us. And I'm reading the comic book, but out of the corner of my eye, I see what looks like a bird like flap its wings and like you even hear like a it was a comic book. He threw it across the room as clandestinely as he could so that when the girls arrived at the table, they didn't catch him reading a comic book. I was still reading my comic book when they arrived. I don't do shits. Fucking comic books are amazing. But Aaron, he was listening to all this bullshit that society says about, what is cool. Cool is authentic. Cool is kind. That's what fucking cool is. Aaron, he didn't have that strength in himself. I'm just writing down something else that I want to talk about in a second. So don't forget. He was nervous to be his authentic self. And, you know, he felt like he was at a disadvantage. Little did he know, to own the things that you like, to be authentically you, is very attractive. People like that. People like authentic people, you know? And I did say that to him after the girls were like, why throw the fucking comic away? And he was like, oh, you know, girls, whatever. And I was like, who gives a shit? I'm like, if they really were so judgmental about comics in the first place, what? Like, if you could date that girl and like marry her, what, are you going to get rid of comic books your whole life? You're not going to read comic book anymore because this asshole doesn't like fucking comics? That girl's not for you if she doesn't like comic books. You do. You love comic books. So what are you even throwing them across the fucking, like, that's ridiculous, man. Like, did I do that? You see me do that? She was still talking to me. I got a comic book right in front of me. You know, and it's like, oh, like, you know, you're different. You do like, and, you know, and maybe I am a little bit different. And I'll admit that. But honestly, I think I'm a little bit different because I think like that. Because I think that to be true to yourself and to be real is kind of the most important part. Now, I have not practiced what I preach my whole life. Intellectually, I do. But on the outside, I don't. Like, I'll tell you a funny story. I just got my nails done. I love having my nails done. I love it. You know, I am the gayest straight man you will ever meet in your life. It was a funny way to say it, I guess. I love color and just over the top artists, whether it's a drawings or rock stars. You know, I love people who are doing things that are interesting and different and like, you know, that's my favorite fucking thing. And I'll tell you something funny, right? I started doing my nails only because my girlfriend invited me to the nail salon with her mother. And you know, they were like, yeah, you know, come down and relax for a second, get a manicure. You know, just get some clear gels or whatever. So I call up my kids. I call up Logan and Parker, you know, my daughters, and I'm like, I'm getting my nails done. And they make me get colored nails. So I'm getting I'm getting a pedicure, and I got like color, glittery blue nail polish my nails. And then with my fingernails, I'm like, all right, you know, screw it, you know, because I'm having a fun time laughing with them, and they think this is so funny and so cute. And I'm like, all right, fuck it, you know, give me some black nails. And they paint my nails black. I love it. I love it. Like, I'm like I keep like smiling. I have this great video that I made of my daughter years ago. I used to host like a little thing called Snider 60 Seconds on a lockers.com. And they used to like hire like celebrity brand endorsers kind of thing, or influencers to kind of go on. And I was one of their influencers. And I filmed this video of Logan getting her ears pierced. And at the very end of the video, I caught her in this store because we were at the mall. And she's in the mirror, looking in the mirror, and she's like, she loves it. She loves. I forget, I'm on a podcast. You can't see what I did, but basically she was like putting her hands up to her ear and she's like looking at it. She was looking at herself in the mirror with the earrings, admiring how much she loved it. Like, I love how this looks. And that's what happened to me. I'm like, oh my God, I love this. I love how this looks. And what happened was I went out in public with my black nails and I started to feel very self-conscious. People are looking at me. People are judging me. People are thinking, I don't know what. You know, the mohawk doesn't necessarily bother me because there's something kind of masculine about the mohawk. You know, I mean, the Native Americans would literally be putting up the mohawk before they were going into battle in a lot of cases. Some of the tribes would wear the mohawk all the time. But some tribes would only wear the mohawk into battle. So it definitely has a little bit of stick, you know, you got a fucking saw blade on your head. You got an edge. You're a little taller. Like, you know, the mohawk, I'm like, I'm not afraid somebody's going to come up to me and make fun of me in the gym. You know, I'm out here in Florida with my best buddy, Sam. And Sam was talking about going to the gym. And like, you know, when people like step to him, he's just like, who the fuck are you talking to? he's an ex-cop. And like, his nature, I'm kind of like, you ain't worth it. And he's a little bit more like, gonna get in your face. And for me, it's a little bit more like, if it's a clear and present danger, I will step up, I will defend myself, I will defend anybody. But if it's not, I don't fucking need, I don't need to waste my energy on you. And Sam's a little bit more like, oh yeah, you got something for me, I got something for you. And he's talking about how when he goes to the gym, he'll do just things that feel good to him, whether it's like some calisthenic stretching or whatever. And he was doing some little dance or some little movement or whatever in the gym. And some guy said to him of like, what is that, the Oompa Loompa dance? And he was like, and that idea that you might go out into the world and somebody say, oh, I like your nails, princess, or something like that. Just being a person who wanted to avoid conflict of that level, like, is stupid, useless. I'm like, well, I can avoid that if I'm a little bit less myself. But that's not right, man. You gotta be yourself. You gotta be who you are. I love this. And this time when I got my nails done, because I'm going on my live show and I'm like, I want to be myself. Myself has fucking painted nails. And I generally did black, but that Little Richard show from weeks ago, All Your Favorite Bands Suck, it really inspired me. It inspired me, like I rededicated my life to being weird and living authentically. I have a pair of glasses that are in my pocket that I love these fucking glasses. Check these out. Sorry, podcast people, I gotta show them my cool glasses. I bought these because I love them. I'm like, oh, those are really, like, the angles on them. They're weird. They're like sort of like weird 80s librarian glasses. Like, they're a weird thing of like, you go down to the library in the 80s and some weird lady looks up at you with gigantic eyes and like these crazy pointy glasses. And I'm like, these are so fucking cool. I love them. That's me. I like that shit. Kitschy, weird ass shit. That's what I prefer. And literally this time, as they're doing my black nails, she had just started and I went, I should have got electric blue. So next time I'm going to be getting electric blue. But it's so important not just to be yourself. And, the people that I'm talking to, that's why I wanted to do this episode. I mean, it was kind of just weird. This is episode 101 of the Coolest Geek Alive. We just did episode 100 over the weekend. And I'm sorry to anybody who tried to tune into the live show that night. I had a whole bunch of technical difficulties with YouTube, and I wasn't able to make the first episode of Coolest Geeks Alive, plural, happen. AARON SPARROW is my co-host. He's one of my best friends. Everything I can do, AARON can do. Every fucking good thought I have in my head, AARON's got a dozen more. He's a fucking brilliant guy. He's a beloved commentator in the YouTube sphere because AARON knows what to say. I was telling my buddy Sam just about AARON, like how he's just so Johnny on the spot. He remembers dialogue that he read in comic books from like the freaking late 70s, and he will like literally regurgitate the exact line. And in Avengers number blah blah blah, Captain America said da 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 da. And then I go, "Are you fucking serious right now? Like if I go look up that comic, that's what Captain America said?" And he's like, "Yeah, I mean, pretty close." Just like, shit, man, your mind is a steel trap. AARON's incredible. I can't pump him up enough. He's just, he and I became friends because he was my editor. He was such an honorable, great person to work for. And then we both found out that we were toy guys, and we love toys, and we bonded over toys, and we've been just best friends ever since. And I mean, he and I we never have any fucking problems at all. Sam was asking me if I dealing with this thing every now and then. I have friends of mine who will like push back against me because they intimidated on some level. Like my best friend from childhood who just came back into my life. He and I were talking, and we've been like kind of like fixing all of our problems. He admitted to me that he thought I was arrogant. And now he knows that I'm not. I was never arrogant. I love him. I only fucking love him. And he totally just misunderstood me because I was brave enough to put myself out there in ways that he wasn't brave. So to him, it seemed like the only way you could do that is if you were arrogant. A lot of people think to go against the norm, to be different, is to be arrogant. How are you suggesting that the normal thing isn't the right answer? I'm not suggesting that the normal thing isn't the right answer. It's just not the right answer for me. And I'm not wrong because I'm not choosing your answer. That's not arrogance. Live and let live, and love it. I love people for their differences. I'm a child of the Muppet Show. And what's the Muppet Show? It's a frog running a variety show filled with all of his diverse friends. Every single one of them has something unique and wonderful to bring to the table. And that's how I think of all my friends. You know, my buddy Sam, my buddy Pat, my buddy Aaron, all have unique things that they bring to the table. My buddy Dave Marfield, like oh man, I'm so blessed. I have so many wonderful sons. Michael Zinn, so many people in my life, and they're all so unique and so fucking cool in their own way. Ugh. Drives me crazy that my friend Pat, for so long, he thought like I was against him or something. Breaks my heart. I changed who I was for so long. I pulled my arms in and I stopped being myself because I was afraid to send the wrong signals to the people I loved. I'm like, if my best friend is misunderstanding me and thinking that like I don't want everything in the world for him, then like I'm doing it wrong somehow. And I don't know how to do any better. But you know what I realized when I pulled my arms in and I stopped being myself? Nothing changed. No difference. It's not specifically what I'm saying or anything. It's who I am. It's my nature. Your nature. You're different. I'm different. And I'm proud to be different. I'm fucking glad to be different. And being different inspires other people to be themselves. Some people, it's going to trigger because they secretly would like to be themselves, but they can't. They can't quite bring themselves to be who they really truly are. And that's rough. That sucks. And that makes me want to double down because Little Richard inspired me on so many levels to at least be myself intellectually and encouraged me to be myself in the world a little bit more. You know, I used to be like my dad. I was very stiff. I'd walk around very stiffly and all this stuff. But my nature is much more feminine. I'm tough and masculine, and I have that. I'm a very balanced person. But 50% of me is kind of like a girl. You know, I'm girly. You know, that's who I am. 50% of the time. The other half of the time, I'm masculine and manly and blah, blah, blah. I go back and forth. But when I would go out to the world, I would not show the part of me that was feminine. I would just march around really stiff, you know, and be the man that I am a man. People say that you should be a man. I'm a man. Hello, hello. I'm a man. You're a man. You're a woman. I'm a man. Nice to meet you. You know, that's what I would do because that's what I thought, you know, I should do. And then later in my life, as I sort of recognized that really like I was hiding my nature, you know, now I go out into the world and I'll go back and forth between being very stiff and cool and then, oh man, I love you. Thanks so much. That's awesome. Very cool. Because that's me. I'm a fucking Care Bear, man. Like, you know, Care Bear stare to everybody out there. I haven't sent a Care Bear stare to you guys. This is so fucking cool, actually, being live and here. And it's nice. We got people in the chat and stuff and some names I recognize and whatnot. Thank you guys for being here with me. I appreciate it. I was like having like nightmares that I was going to be all by myself and like have 0 watchers. I was like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to put up my notes for the show over my face, over how many people are watching. All these fucking things. But I have a sliver where I can see comments coming down, and I will get to comments and I will talk to people later. Thank you guys all individually when the show's over. But yeah, you know, when I pulled my arms in and stopped, you know, being myself, I would go down and there's something called the Ultimate Jam Night, and this new version of me that didn't want to rub people the wrong way, I was quieter. So I would go to Ultimate Jam Night and I would kind of go sit somewhere by myself and just be off to the side. Not that I didn't think that I was unapproachable. If anybody wanted to talk to me, like, yeah, I was there. I was trying to not assume that I was a big deal and anybody wanted to know who I was. Like, you know, like I was literally just going like, yeah, I'm here. No big deal. Just hanging out. Well, guess what? It starts coming back to me that I'm rude and I'm aloof and like, you know, I'm stuck up. And I'm like, what? Like I'm pulling myself back. I'm not being loud and I'm not doing all the things that in the past I've gotten in trouble for. You know, like people misunderstanding me, you know, that's the trouble. But but I hate being misunderstood. So for me, that's like a major trouble. Like being misunderstood is like the bane of my existence. You know, I just want people to understand, like, I love you. I love you. I'm like, I make art and comic books and music because I love people. You know, it's just such a wonderful planet that we have here. And there's just so many different people. It's like a smorgasbord of things that you could eat. There's so much to enjoy about planet Earth. There's so many people to appreciate. And I am a person who appreciates differences and unique proclivities and idiosyncrasies and all that shit. I love that stuff. So like to be told that, oh, he's aloof and he didn't want to talk to people and all this stuff. And rumors about me being on drugs and like all this other shit were going around. People just talk. They just say the fucking shit that they say, and they will say whatever makes sense to them. So it made sense to them that Dee Snider's son was a drug addict. Dude, I was straight edge until I was 28. Now I'm a plant medicine man, which means I work with plants. I used to use marijuana as a tool for my anxiety. I've used psilocybin mushrooms as a tool for depression. And I still use psilocybin mushrooms every now and then. Now I use them more, and marijuana too, to commune. Because, you know, there's a reason why shamans work with the plants, even tobacco, and they're smoking out of their pen. Because there is energy. There's another side of things. There's a lot of things that you can tap into when you open yourself up. So, plant medicine man. I don't do fucking heroin. I don't do coke. I don't do crack. I don't even. Is that the same thing? I don't even know. Because I don't do those drugs. I don't like the pharmaceutical industry. I don't like pharmaceutical kind of drugs. I've done LSD once or twice because it's synthetic, and I don't really like synthetic things. I don't really like drugs. And like when I do mushrooms, when I do marijuana, I don't party. I'm not a fucking partier. I'm a workaholic. All I do is work. I'm on a vacation right now out in Florida with my best friend. This is very rare that I let myself go on vacation or anything. All I do is work and take care of the people I love. You know, if I'm on a trip or something, it's probably because my girl wants to go on a trip, or because I want to do something nice for my children, or my family's going. That's it. You know, like it's just this crazy thing. Like, I'm not a partier, and I'm not like some weird social butterfly who just loves to know people and name drop and like all this bullshit. So it's not my nature at all. But people will invent a nature for you, and their nature is based on who they are and the type of things that they think, not who you are. So please don't let the people in the world dictate to you who you are, the way they're perceiving you, because the way they're perceiving you is fucking bullshit. And there are other people in the world, like my buddy Sam, who perceive me the right way. AARON SPARROW, who perceives me the right way. Brian Burns, Angela, who's in our comments, who perceive me the right way. No, Jesse just loves people, and he everything he does is for others. It's true. My ex-wife, she broke my heart. How many times did it tell me that she felt like what I did for a living was selfish, because she wanted me to like just go get like a regular job. And one, I told her early on, don't ever expect that that's what I'm going to do, because that's not what I'm going to do. I am here to show people that the way to live is through love and authenticity. You got to do what you fucking love. And I don't care if it's a bit of a struggle right now for me to make money doing that. I'm going to fucking do it until I demonstrate the friggin' truth of it, because that is what I believe. And I'm never giving up on that. And I never have. So, you know, there's so many people who can misunderstand you and just don't take their fucking word for who you are. Know who you are, and know that if you show up every day doing the best that you can and trying to learn and be better than you were the day before, that's it, man. Who can ask for anything more than that? Who can ask for more than the best that you can? That's it. The best that you can. So I'm not the coolest geek alive, but I hope one day to be. The coolest geek alive, coolest man alive, actually the inspiration from it came from a sketch that I wrote. It was supposed to be an ongoing sketch for Sesame Street. I don't believe that the producer of this show, of Sesame Street for HBO, I don't think he ever read any of the pitches that I wrote. I didn't know him personally. Somebody had given me this guy's email, And I just set out to impress him with my ideas. And I wrote a shitload of great ideas. I'll share one of them with you because I loved it so much. I had a segment called Try New Food with Cookie Monster, where basically they would introduce some new food to Cookie Monster, and Cookie Monster would reluctantly eat it. You know, he wanted cookies, but okay, me try. You know, and he would eat the food, and then he would go, "Oh, asparagus is good, but I like cookies better." And that's okay. It's okay that Cookie likes Cookie Monsters better, but there are other foods, and you might like some of those too. A really good thing. You know, I wrote this from the perspective of a parent. By that time, when I was writing these pitches, I had at least 2 kids, maybe 3. And I really was attempting to teach my kids. I was like, what do I create here on Sesame Street? What do I want my children to learn from these segments? So, you know, try new foods. That would be great. I would love my children to be exposed to Cookie Monster, somebody who has a myopic palate, attempting to try new things. That's great. That'll teach my kids. So one of the other things that I came up with was called Ernie Be Good. And Ernie Be Good was just a segment with Ernie wearing a leather jacket, walking around Sesame Street, doing good deeds. And you'd see him from afar. You'd see these little kid Muppets who were observing him. They were observing his behavior, and they were talking about how cool he is. And the one little kid turns to me and said, "You see that? That's Ernie Be Good. He's the coolest Muppet on Sesame Street." And you see Ernie, he holds open a door, and a whole parade of people go in, and they're all like, "Thank you." He's like, "Oh, no problem. No problem. Yeah, no problem. My pleasure." You know, all those people in. Now he's crossing the street, and he helps this old lady across the street. And they're like, "He's so cool." And now he's, "You call me while I'm doing my damn show? I'm doing a show." They're going to try to call me again, the sons of bitches. Hopefully I'll just make this mute, and I'll be good. He is doing the things that you want to see your children do, that you want to impart to your children. He's picking up garbage that the guy missed. He went to go throw his garbage away, and he missed, and he walks away. And Ernie walks up to that garbage can, and he picks up the garbage himself, and he throws it in the garbage. Because he's not too good to pick up some fucking garbage. He's not too good to hold open the door and let the other people go first. That's what it means to be cool. Ernie Be Good, you know, based on Johnny Be Good. And, you know, give him the leather jacket, which to me was a reference to the Fonz, which was ultimately another influence and inspiration for my tattoo of Coolest Man Alive. Because if you ever watch the show Happy Days, and people who are younger may not know the reference here, but Happy Days was a show, you know, basically just about like this small town, the goings on in this small town. And one of the main characters, who was like the linchpin character for the show and became, you know, sort of the breakout star, was Arthur Fonzarelli, the Fonz. What you might remember is the term jumping the shark. Jumping the Shark comes from Happy Days, an episode where the Fonz jumps some sharks. So this was a very influential show at the time. Had a huge influence on the people watching. And the Fonz is the best, man. He's the fucking coolest man alive. The Fonz, every episode, would ultimately end up at his feet. Whatever problem Richie Cunningham or any of the Cunninghams or any of the other characters in the show were having, they would eventually bring it to the Fonz. At that point, the Fonz would either give them the perfect advice, say the perfect thing. You know, he'd just be like, "Well, you know, my grandfather used to tell me, he was in the war, and he used to tell me that da 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 da." And like this person would be like, "Oh my God, like that's exactly what I needed to hear. Thanks, Fonz." You know, and they'd run off. Problem solved. Now they know what to do. They're going to go out to the world, and they're going to make it a better place, because the Fonz, he's the right man at the right time, saying the right thing. That's what I want to be. And in the other cases, the Fonz literally go, "What injustice is happening? Who did what to you? I'm going to that school right now." You know, and the Fonz pop up his collar, get out there, and the Fonz will show, "Hey, what's going on here?" You know, and the Fonz would literally just go, "I'm going to defend the innocent. I'm going to do what's fucking right, because that's not right what you just told me. And I believe in what's right. I believe it's right." I believe in the Fonz and people like the Fonz. I believe in Ernie B. Good. I believe in the people who are picking the garbage up off the street. I believe the people who are mopping the floors and opening up the doors for other people around them. I believe in the people who use their power, their position to help the people who don't feel like they have so much power, who don't feel like they're in the position. If I have any advantage, please let me use it to help others who don't. Not everybody has an advantage. If I've got one, I must use it for good. You must use it for good. And that's my tattoo. That's this show, the coolest geek alive, the coolest man alive. It's just my pledge. I want to be fucking cool. And that is what being cool is. You want to be cool? That's the lesson. It's Geek 101. Coolest Geek 101. You want to be a fucking cool geek? Be true to yourself and be good to people. Be kind to people. My brother Shane, he honored me in such an amazing way at his wedding. And it was private. One of his groomsmen, and he wrote letters to everybody. And I don't know what I was expecting from this letter, but what I got, I never expected in a million years. It's a two pages, and he gave me credit for his taste, which was very affirming, because I think I was doing the show by the time this happened. And he said, all of my favorite books you put in my hand. All of my favorite movies I borrowed from your DVD collection. I used to have a massive DVD collection. He said, I play role-playing games because you introduced me to them. I am a puppeteer. He used to be in a thing called Puppet Shakespeare, which was really cool. They got a really nice write-up in the New York Times many years ago. He said, I was a puppeteer, and I met my wife because I was a puppeteer doing Puppet Shakespeare. That's how I met Abby. And I did that, and I felt cool doing that because you made me feel fucking cool about liking puppets and liking the Muppets. You thought that shit was cool. And he said, and this is really the point of why I'm sharing this. He said, the bigger part of it was that, I'm a geek because you made it appealing. You weren't like, oh, I'm a geek. You were like, I'm a geek because this is the greatest shit going on planet Earth. These toy sculptors and these comic book artists and these people doing these things, playing fantasy games and video games and all this shit. This is the cool shit. This is where it's at. And anybody who thinks otherwise is a fucking idiot. All right? Because I could see this is fucking great. And literally, until people stop marginalizing this shit, I'm going to stand right here wearing all my fucking superhero shirts and filling my fucking walls with shit that other people think is kid stuff or cheat. Fuck you. You're wrong. You're wrong. I'm right. And I have the courage of my convictions to say so. I have the testicular fortitude to stand my ground and go, this is the best stuff. This is the best. And Shane said, I felt cool to be a geek. You made being a geek cool. You made it something that was not lame or a step down or anything like that. It was a step up. It was me being wise. It was me being cool enough to recognize the amazing world around me. And my life is better because of the influence that you have had on me in terms of the way I look at being a geek, the way I appreciate things. I don't think of myself as lesser because of my association with role-playing games and comic books and whatever. I look at myself as not superior, but as fucking cool, as somebody who is authentic and doing the right things and appreciating the right things about life. Not appreciating stupid, superficial stuff, but appreciating real stuff, appreciating craftspeople, people who make things with their hands. Fucking A, man. That's awesome. This wasn't here yesterday, but now it is because of you. That's awesome. How cool are these people who are making all this shit for us? How lame is it of me to think that I'm lesser because they make kids? Fuck you, man. Lift these people up. If you really love comics, if you really love toys and sculpture and all this stuff that's being made, if you really love it, don't lower yourself because you're lowering all of the people who you appreciate. Raise yourself up. And I know that I've done that for comic book creators. I know that my buddy Joe Kelly, who so Joe Kelly is one of my favorite comic book writers of all time. Joe Kelly is responsible for why you and I love Deadpool so much. It's not Rob Liefeld. Rob Liefeld just took Spider-Man and Snake Eyes and fucking Slade Wilson and a few other things and combined them into one character. It was the writing that eventually transformed Deadpool into the character that we all know and love today. And when I met Joe, I just gushed, oh my goodness, dude, you are the best. And this story and freaking what's so funny about Truth, Justice, and the American Way and this and that and the other. Because I would read everything he wrote. I love Joe Kelly's work. He's such a fucking talented guy. Shout out to Joe. And Joe, when Joe would see me at conventions, I would like pass by his booth and I'd kind of want to Joe. And he would see me pass by his booth and he'd be like, hey, Jesse, hey, buddy. Like, I was so humbled. I was like, oh my God, Joe Kelly's waving to me. I'm like, this is so crazy. But I realized that on whatever level, Joe felt like I had some power to sort of give him, to make him feel good about what he did. Because I think comic books are the greatest fucking art form known to man. And I went over to that guy and I said, I know that you work in an industry that people think is fucking kiddie bullshit, but I am not kiddie bullshit. I am a real person who appreciates great artisans. And I believe you are a great artisan. Keep up the fucking great work, man. I love it. So great to meet you. Can you sign my books for me? Can you please sign right here on this pad where you have fucking dead Jason Todd in the freaking, there's a great moment in Emperor Joker where Joker shows up in the Superman comics. Awesome stuff. A lot of it drawn by Ed McGuinness and whatnot. I don't remember which. I had him sign this page where Joker's got all of the Robins like locked up in a cage. I don't know if they're in a cage or they're at a table or something. They're all chained up, but in the middle there's Jason Todd, and he's got a sign around his neck that says, "Why didn't you write in to save me?" And this is a reference to the fact that there was like I don't know if it was a hotline. Maybe it said, "Why didn't you call in to save me?" But there was a moment where people could have saved Jason Todd, but the audience, by a small margin, voted to kill him. And that was when the classic Death in the Family storyline, where the Joker beats the shit out of Jason Todd with the crowbar. And that sign, that like inside joke of like, "Why didn't you call and save me?" I think that was the funniest thing. And I literally am like turning to that page. I'm like, you have to sign right here. But I made an impression on Joe Kelly. The same way I made an impression on my brother Shane. An impression was, it's cool to be a geek. And, that's the gift that I think I can kind of give a little bit. I'm the child of a rock star. I'm a fucking rock star myself. I don't know if you're familiar with my music or whatever. I'm awesome. Kick ass. I just don't like the mainstream music industry. So I've never signed any deals. I've never gone that route. But if you listen to my music, you'll see I'm very talented. I make great music. And largely it's because I have very good taste and I work with people who are wonderful. Andre Padre Holmes and my buddy Robbie Lochner, who are now members of Dilf USA, both of them. But there's so many musicians who I love and I love working with. Will Knox, who I co-wrote all of the Blacklight District Studio stuff with. That's a great place. If you're a comic book fan and you want to check out a little bit of my music, go to blacklightdistrict.co and you'll see 6 songs co-produced and co-written by me and Will Knox and 6 comics. Phil Hester, Jason Pearson, J.K. Woodward, and Chris Burnham. Beautiful. Beautiful. It's the only thing that I've ever worked on that I consider perfect. The music's perfect, the comics are perfect, and it's a great little comics and music, and that's my company, Blacklight Studios. You see that written down here. That's what we do. We make comic books, we make music, and we make media to support that shit. So I am a unique guy, and this stupid thing of like being a celebrity's kid, having worked on TV and a lot of different things or whatever else. Some people give me a scale of sort of credibility and credit that I don't necessarily deserve. Like, it doesn't make me better that I've fucking been on TV or anything. It doesn't mean anything. It's nice that I could feed my family that way or whatever, but it doesn't mean anything that that's what I do and you do something else. It doesn't at all. But people will give you power. And Joe, in some level, was like, I love that Jesse appreciates me like this. it's nice to know that somebody like him, who is such a unique person, a creative person, deeply appreciates what I do. And that was able to give him some strength. My brother Shane, that was able to give him strength to play D&D and riffs and all these freaking games that we love to play. Shane's been creating his own role-playing game for the past few years because of how deeply he's gotten into role-playing games and how much he loves them. And I mean, if you've never played a role-playing game, a pen and paper role-playing game, not any of this fucking RPGs on video games, not the same thing. Using your brain, a pen, piece of paper and a pen, and dice, playing with a group of people, there's nothing better. Nothing better. I know some people like LARPing too and whatnot. I also think that that's like too much. You're just like taking it to some other place. You're trying to pretend that you're a tough guy, essentially. Don't do that. Sit in a room with a bunch of your friends and intellectually challenge each other and come up with fun and interesting, entertaining things to do. Role-playing games are the fucking best. I haven't played in so long. I keep threatening to get a game going with some friends, and I haven't had a moment to do it yet. But I'm gonna do it soon. I'm gonna have a fucking night every week where I'm playing some riffs because I love riffs. Is one of my favorite. But yeah, that's it. Everybody's got power. There's another story that I like to tell all the time about how this kid that I met, and I gave him a compliment. He didn't know who I was. He did D. Snider's son, any of this bullshit, nothing. But maybe I had my mohawk up. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I looked like at the time. But I got out of the car, and I see this guy with his family. He's probably like 15. And he got a really interesting haircut. It was like colored and like, I don't know, some sort of like badass version of like Flock of Seagulls or something. And I see him, and I kind of lit up. I was like, man, I really like your hair, man. This shit is cool. And he lights up like the sun. He just was like, and then immediately I see him look around at his family. Like the cat that ate the canary, he like looks to the left and he looks to his right. And then I see the expressions of the people around him, his family. They look at him like, huh, well, I guess your hair is for some people. They look at him like they've been making fun of him for a while. And now I came along and I said, you look amazing. This is great. Yeah. And I probably changed his life on some level. And I know that sounds silly. Like, I'm not trying to aggrandize myself, but I just know how fucking important that would be to me at a time when I felt like people were making fun of me or being not cool to me. It's cool. I'm cool to you. Why won't you be cool to me? Having to fight for yourself to live in the world the way you want to live in the world. Do what you want to do. My father used to get up on stage in women's clothing. And people are shouting out in the crowd, he's a fag or whatever this shit. Like these people. I'm living in the world authentically, and you're going to come down and you're going to fucking try to take me off of my perch, take me away from doing what I want to do, what I feel is right for me. I get gay bashed. Freaking DILF USA. Granted, I like immediately went home and wrote a song about how I think secretly gay and like, I think maybe you'd need a man in your bed tonight and like, maybe we could fuck. I might be a little hard to get, but like maybe you could get, maybe we can get on. I went straight towards this homophobe. But I wrote another part to this song that I wrote these 3 parts. And the third part of the song was basically like on the blood of my children, the blood of my, blood, I forget what it was, on my soul, like how dare you try to minimize me? How dare you try to take away everything that I have earned in this world as a musician, as a performer, and try to boil me down to some gay guy going off in the universe doing something that you don't like and that you have the fucking power to stop me from doing what I want to do. Fuck you. Fuck anybody who tries to get in the way of you and the authentic way that you want to live. You gotta fucking do what you love. Now, as I get towards like the end of the show, I really want to take this to the next level, because the reason why I did this show isn't because I wanted to be like, I'm so cool and like I want to teach you how to be cool. Like, that's not me. And honestly, if you think that, you haven't been listening to the show, because that's not what I think. It's not what I think. I think that I want to be. I think that I'd like to be. I hope that your takeaway is that I'm a cool guy. I hope that you feel great about having spent some time with me and absorbed some of my energy. I hope that it's a positive experience for you. You know, that's all I hope. I hope to give. I hope to give. I like to give. We're living in this crazy, polarized time. And I want us all to recognize something. It is fabricated. It's being created. The CIA and various intelligence agencies all across the planet have been playing mind games with us for ages. Keeping the population at war with itself is as old as Rome, or at least that's the furthest you can go back for a quote. In Rome, they used to say, give them cake and give them circuses. Well, what is that? Now they give professional sports. And we fight amongst ourselves. The men fight against the women, and the blacks and the whites and the Spanish fight against each other. And this religion fights against that religion, and this country fights against that country. And you and I, we're just stuck in the middle. The majority of us are just the people living in the world, trying to get by, trying to make sense of all this shit. Cool people do not get lost in partisan politics. I don't care if you're an extreme Republican or if you're an extreme Democrat. Be fucking cool. You can live your extreme way, but let other people be who they are. Maybe you're right. Maybe one day they will come to your side of things, but it's not today. And they're not going to get there by you twisting their fucking arm. Nobody does anything because somebody else says so. In fact, when that happens, when it happens enough, it creates an energy that's like a volcano that eventually will erupt and come out. As we begin to oppress people, that's what happens. There are people, one of the things that I did a long time ago, when I was digging into the world, I wanted to understand why people were the way they were. And I looked up black supremacists, and I looked up white supremacists and Nazis and religious supremacists. So I want to understand where they were coming from. Well, first thing I'll tell you is all of them believe that there is a control system that is keeping them down. And they're fucking right. But it's not just keeping them down, it's keeping all of us down. The same control system is keeping all of us down, and most of us are pointing to the guy to our right going, it's you, ha-ha, pa! Like, no, motherfucker, you're punching just another guy who's stuck in the same fucking control system. You know, when everybody's fighting against the white man and the patriarchy, they're not getting the fucking Rockefellers, they're not getting the fucking Bilderbergs and all the fucking Black Rocks and all these fucking companies that are actually responsible for destroying the planet, destroying our families, poisoning us. It is happening on high. And we are so fucking stupid and so not cool to each other that we're just, what do they tell us? We're like, oh yeah, it's the men. Oh yeah, it's the whites. Oh yeah, it's the list goes on. It could be anybody. And tomorrow it will change. Because eventually these people get a freaking grip on things and they push back. And the person in the power position becomes the person being maligned. You know, when you look into the white supremacists, you know what white supremacists really think? They think that there's a system of power in place that is trying to oppress them. They think that the group that they align themselves with has been falsely demonized and made to look worse than it actually is. And they don't actually really give too much of a shit about whether blacks are better or whites are better or Hispanics are better. They actually just care that they're being persecuted. Everybody who is taking some fucking hard line about whatever feels that they're being persecuted. The black supremacists believe that this system has wiped out their history. And they're right. They have wiped out their history, but they've wiped out our history too. They've wiped out the fucking Irish history, and they've done it in convenient ways by calling them Phoenicians. They're not Phoenicians, they're fucking Irish people. But we can't connect the dots as they change all these things and all this historical shit. Everything gets lost. And this black supremacist is so misguided because he's not the only one. Him and the white supremacists need to get together and compare notes. And they will say, oh, fuck, like, we have the same enemy. We do. We have the same enemy, the fucking lame people who are attempting to put pressure down on us from the top and keep us in a pressure cooker that keeps us fucking fighting all the time and not being cool to one another. Comic books, comic book characters, the characters in comic books are the coolest people alive. Clark Kent is the coolest man alive. Invincible is the coolest man alive. Nightwing is the coolest man alive. Wally West is the coolest man alive. They get up every day and they try to make the world a better place. And I go on the internet and these fucking comic book creators who I have loved and respected my entire life, they can't get along. Ethan Van Sciver and Mark Waid are two sides of the same stupid fucking coin. It's Batman and it's Superman, and their Justice League sucks. They can't fucking accomplish anything. They can't save the fucking world because they're too busy fighting with one another like ignorant assholes. They're not fucking cool. That's why I did this show today, because I need to fucking tell people, teach people how to be fucking cool, because I'm looking out to the world and 99.9% of the people I see are not fucking cool. Granted, that's just the noisy people. Most of the people who are listening to my show, you're not noisy. You're not on Twitter being really fucking loud about everything. You're not on YouTube being fucking loud about everything. It's these noisy, superficial people who want to be. I need to be seen. I don't need to be seen. I fucking hate this damn that I have a fucking camera in my face right now. You know, and every now and then I'm like, am I sweating or do I look weird? I don't know. My mom's a freaking makeup artist, so like she really put a lot of self-consciousness in me when I'm on camera, when people are looking at me like, oh, you know, because I can hear her voice in my head of like, oh, you got a little schmutz there, or whatever. It like pops up in my brain. But the majority of these people, they want to be seen. They don't feel seen. They want to be heard. And most of them, they just follow. They go, oh, everybody's going over here to the extreme left. That's where I'm going to go. And now the tide is turning. And eventually you're going to see everybody go over to the extreme right because that's where everybody's going. That's where I'm going to go. Fucking idiots. The middle. Balance. Be cool. Accept everybody. Do others, have them do unto you. Leave the space for them to live and you to live. Don't draw lines in the sand that prevent other people from being comfortable with who they are. You know, and that doesn't mean that like you be authentic and you can even like be like, well, you know, I like this. Well, you know, I understand that, but I'm thinking in these ways. That's okay. It's okay to be an individual who has individual ideas about the world. We all do. But it's not fucking okay to shout down the other people and to tell the other people that they can suck. And it aggravates me because right now I feel on some level that I've become them because I've had to get loud and start shouting down their partisanship. Their stupid, self-righteous, this is the only way. Fuck you. This is not the only way. Shut your damn mouth. There's a whole other planet filled with other people who have other ideas. And if nobody will get loud about accepting people, I will get loud about accepting people. If no leader who is willing to love everybody will step up to the plate, I will step up to the plate and I fucking lead us to the damn promised land. Because there is a place where nobody goes home alone. Nobody is fucking lonely and nobody is sad and nobody's depressed and nobody marginalized and nobody fucking starves or freaking sleeps on the street anymore. And we don't live there because you fucking assholes think it's more important to fucking argue your personal politics, your personal religion, your personal dogma. That's more important than getting people off of the fucking street. It's not. It's not more important. There are people to save. There's a world to save. That's why I read comics. That's why I read fantasy science fiction. Science fiction's about the fucking future and how it's going to suck if we don't change things, or how it could be better if you read Star Trek. I mean, if you watch Star Trek or read Star Trek, and it could be fucking better. Could be better than it is, but we're stuck in our own personal fucking thing of like, it's got to be like that. It's got to be like that. No. Have you watched The Muppet Show? This is a metaphor for all the different ways there are to be. There are musicians, and there are chefs, and there are fucking weirdos. and there are actors, and there are singers, and there are dancers, and there are all sorts of ways to live and be in this world. And if you're so fucking arrogant that you think that your one way of being is sacrosanct and better and more important than getting somebody off of the street, helping the world, getting people out of prison who've been stuck there for fucking marijuana sentences. Half the fucking planet is fucking now, and marijuana offenders are still in jail. How about we fucking prioritize that shit? That fucking injustice. How do we not do something about this? We don't, because we're not fucking cool. We're not cool. We don't know how to be cool to each other. I have a quote in the description for Coolest Geek Alive and for Coolest Geeks Alive, and it says, "The geeks shall inherit the earth." I believe that. I believe that the geeks will inherit the earth because we're the meek. Most of us. I know that I'm not your typical geek, and I believe that's why I'm here. Step up to the plate and lead us to the fucking promised land. And I don't care. Anybody else can do it too. Whoever wants to step up to the plate and fucking put their freaking balls on the line and tell everybody to cut the shit. We need the people to bring the Justice League together. We need Batman and Superman and the Flash and Green Lantern and Wonder Woman getting along. It is when we all harmonize, the world will change, that we can make this world a better place. It's so fucking important that we're cool to each other. This song that is the theme song for my show, it's going to be fucking awesome. It is so much deeper than this show. I'm not talking about this show. It's going to be fucking awesome. The future is bright. It might not be now, but it's going to be. It's going to be fucking awesome. Come with me. Come with me, the coolest geek alive, because it's going to be fucking awesome when we get to the promised land. And I am not going to stop moving and shaking and pushing like a fucking juggernaut until we cross through the fucking barriers that are in place right now to keep us from being happy, to keep us from finding joy, to keep us from being comfortable, being who we are. I want to live in a world where little Richard doesn't die fucking sad, feeling like just everybody is judging him and making him feel like he's going to die and go to hell. You know, when I grew up, people were telling me that I was going to go to hell because I wasn't being saved by Christ or any of this other bullshit, because I'm not a fucking dogmatic religious person. And now the extreme left is going to cancel you and tell you that you should be miserable and live in poverty for the rest of your life and get out of the entertainment industry or whatever else because you don't believe what they believe. Fuck you and your stupid dogma. Get it out of my damn face. I am done with this shit. I didn't like it when it was the religious people. I don't like it when it's you stupid fucking loud liberals. And the people on the internet who are these loud liberals, the loud trannies, and the loud fucking gays, and the loud bisexual, all the loud ones aren't fucking cool. I know so many fucking trans people. I know so many fucking gay people. And everyone I know are some of the coolest people I have ever met in my life. But if you go online, oh my God, their representatives suck. Their representatives fucking suck. They are the worst. And these are the people who are representing the group. We cannot let the idiots among us represent us as a group. You can't let the fucking dunderheads in the male community represent all of the men. And you can't let the fucking dunderheads in the female community represent all of the women. And that's why I love it when I see going, I'm an advocate for men. And I see men going, I'm an advocate for women. There are people to be defended. And if you've got strength and you've got the testicular fortitude to do it, step up to the fucking plate and do this shit. Because the geeks will inherit the people who think, the thinking men, the people who care, the people who are empathetic. This place belongs to us. And we're going to push these people out of the fucking way. I'm going to take this planet back. All of the people led by their Superman shirt and their Batman shirt. The people who have a sense of justice. I know the world's going to be a better place. Because I ain't going anywhere, for one. And because I believe in people. I know so many people beyond myself who are fucking cool, man. So many cool people. There are so many cool people in the world. Find them. Find the fucking cool ones. Don't listen to these assholes on the internet spouting all their fucking bullshit. Find the people who talk differently. The other day, I shared Mike Metzer's bodybuilding program with us because I know there's a lot of people in the geek community who would really like to work out and whatnot. But when you read these bodybuilding magazines and shit, it just doesn't connect us intellectually. Mike Metzer does. He's cool. He's fucking cool. He's really thinking about this shit the right way. I love it. There are cool people. Seek them out. Don't be a dogmatic, partisan idiot telling everybody that they're going to hell or canceling them. We cannot live in this crazy polarized world anymore without recognizing that it is polarized. That for every left, there is a right. And the left wing and the right wing are on the same bird. Love you guys. I'm so excited that I did this show. I feel good. I really liked covering myself up so I didn't have to look at myself the whole time. And the Band-Aid's ripped off. I did my first live on YouTube. And there were some people here, some lovely people here chatting with me. I'm going to chat with them in just a minute after I wrap up the show. But this is cool. Thank you so much for coming down. I hope you will join me this Sunday night. Sunday night, I am going to be with my best friend, AARON SPARROW, for Coolest Geeks Alive, plural. This is going to eventually be an interview show. You know, me and AARON are going to have some of our buddies, like Joe Kelly. He's one of the first people that I want to have on the show. And various, you know, I'm going to start off with a lot of like some of my most famous friends, you know, famous in the geek culture world, and celebrity friends of ours and whatnot. And largely I'm doing that so that I can lift up the people who don't have big audiences, who deserve to. There are so many wonderful people, wonderful creative people in this world who I know who don't have an audience right now. And I really want to be able to use this platform that I have to get a spotlight on as many of those great people as I possibly can. So the next fucking, you know, few months of shows is going to be some of the biggest, most famous of the groups of people that I have access to. You know, and then once I do that, the levee will break, and then I'm just going to start bringing you guys who are awesome. And sometimes it'll just be me and AARON. Me and AARON have tried to do this multiple times. I kept thinking that we needed more. Like we needed more than just me and AARON. I don't need any more than me and AARON. AARON is the funniest fucking person I know. He's the most righteous person I know. He's one of the smartest people I know. He's the greatest creative person who I've ever worked with in comics, as an editor, as a reader, as just a human being, and the way he treats people and the way he treats all the people that he works with. And everybody who's ever worked with AARON wants to work with AARON more because he rules. Same thing with me. Every artist who I've ever worked with has wanted to work with me more because I'm fucking awesome. I love people. I genuinely love people. I'm fucking positive. I encourage people. You know, that's what people want. People want people who are awesome, people who are cool. If you can be cool, the right people will find you. The right people will pull you into their life. And all those other people who might treat you different or be a dick to you or whatever, you are just making them realize that they are not as authentic as they should be. Well, that's it, Coolest Geek. I'm your passionate geek culture commentator, Jesse Blaze Snider. You can write to me at jesseblaze@jessesnider.com and follow me on the Twitter. I am Coolest Geek JBS. I love you all so much. I really do. I look forward to hearing from you. And anyway, thank you for listening to my show or watching my show, if it's the case. I hope you'll join me again next Wednesday and this coming Sunday night for our first ass-kicking episode of the Coolest Geeks Alive. See you next time. All right, guys who are on the internet, I am still with you, but I am closing off this little episode here. I got my MP3. This is like for the show for me to send over to my peeps so this shit can get put up in a little bit. And I'm just going to say hi to everybody who's been checking out. Thank you guys so much for checking out the show. I so appreciate it. Thanks, Brian Burns, for being here, Chris Drader, Angela Reinhardt, and everybody else who showed up at various times while the show was going on. Sugar Ray is indeed great. I fucking love Sugar Ray. That first album, it's called Lemonade and Brownies. Awesome. Lemonade and Brownies is great. Sorry, just reading through all of these things here. I'm a rainbow. I am a rainbow. What is different that makes an amazing mixture of wonderful things? No matter what, I got you back. Oh, well, thank you so much. Sweet, sweet shit being said here. Oh, Angela's saying in the chat, you know, that I saved her brother's life. Wasn't able to do it multiple times, unfortunately. I got famously amongst the Reinhardt family. I got on the phone with her brother, who was a big fan of my band, Baptized by Fire, and I, you know, just tried to encourage him. I think he had cancer, and I just tried to, you know, tell him he could do it. Try to give him that strength, you know, give him whatever strength I had to give him. This is so funny. So it says literally here, I had someone tell me that I did coke. And they said, I said, yeah, bullshit. Yeah, no, that's not me. I'll do. You saved my brother's life. Oh, thank you. Be the person who's willing to stand up for people who have an opinion that differs from your own. Yes. Let them love who they love, vote how they vote, do them, and you do you. Stand up for them. Absolutely. Yeah. You guys get it. You guys fucking get it. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for being here for my first Coolest Geek Alive on thing, whatever. How does my background look? Dope, right? That I got this. There was a box that they're selling of blacklight posters for all this old classic marble art. It's so awesome. And of course, you got to get my Care Bears, some Frazetta, got some Conan going on down there. Yeah, life's good. Did you see my lab? Oh, well, I didn't see right there. Ooh, Labyrinth, Fantastic Four, Conan, got Lord of the Rings off to the side. You can't see some of the shit. My wrestling Chainsaw Man. Anyway, this is great. Super excited to do this again next week and this Sunday with Aaron. Anyway, I hope you will join me Sunday, 8 o'clock Pacific. All right. See you next time, guys.